Hi, it's Hans at happierman.com. Today's topic is get your independence from your verbally abusive wife. Well, today is July 4th, Independence Day in the U.S., and we always think about my own independence in relation to kind of the tough times I lived through with my wife, and even the years after I left her as she was an ex-wife. And independence is was critical for my happiness. I couldn't be a happier man when I was married to a verbally abusive woman. It just wasn't possible. And I think you'll find that there's no way for you as a man to be happy, to have any kind of success, to enjoy anything about your life if you're married to a verbally abusive woman. The two just don't go. The two don't go together. You When I was married, the future, my future, our future, the family, our wife and kids, I didn't worry about the future. I was just trying to survive the day and try to avoid doing anything that might set her off, kind of the proverbial walking on eggshells, trying to avoid saying or doing anything that might set her off into a rage or into extreme criticism, or just being in a foul mood that would just kind of spoil the day. And that's no way to live. You cannot be a happier man if you can't have any happiness at all if that's how you're living. And that's the point of talking about this on Independence Day. Is you might have, if this is you're going to have to take your independence from your verbally abusive wife. You're going to have to leave her. You're going to have to start over. You're going to have to spend a lot of money on an attorney to get divorced. You're going to have to uh, screw up your courage and walk out the door. And you may have to run. And you're going to have to stay strong even in the afterwards. If your wife has been pushing you around for a good long while, she's used to being the boss, and she's probably just going to say, well, come back and don't be such a, whatever her normal name calls are for you. She's going to double down after you leave. And she may even start to be sweet and nice and try to convince you to come back that way. But you know that that's just a ploy. Um, I would say for the guys who are just getting married and just starting their lives with their wives, and they're starting to see some cracks in her niceness, and maybe there's a way you can get things going your way. Talk to her, be more, set your boundaries whenever she would say something that's negative, when she has harsh criticisms, when there's a lot of nagging, when there's any kind of put downs, things that bother you, you shouldn't put up with. So, and this will usually start small. I mean, when I was married, my wife didn't start out screaming and yelling, on the day after we got married. It was very good for quite some time, but then over the years, something happened, and she just got, basically meaner and meaner. And the meanness would, cycle up and down. There'd be times of sweetness and lovingness and niceness. But just because someone is nice today, but then what about tomorrow, right? When tomorrow comes and she's just a tyrant, screaming, yelling, and stomping around, uh, the how she was the day before doesn't matter. See, I've always seen that one negative moment kind of skews dozens of nice moments. So you you have to kind of be vigilant in this, and it's a shame because there are nice women in the world who are sweet and kind and wouldn't think of being this way. So, to those women, I applaud you and wish you the best and wish you could uh, be good examples for the women who aren't. Uh, Guys like me, guys who listen to this channel who are uh, nice, easygoing gentlemen, we don't deserve that kind of treatment. And, we typically will bend over backwards to please our ladies. I mean, that's most men, most married men, that's what they do. You bend over backwards to please her and hope that that's appreciated. And when it's appreciated, we love it. And at a minimum, we don't like being criticized for not being able to bend over backwards farther, right? We're only as good as as we are. Just because she would like you to make twice as much money, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to. Um, just because she would like you to be a much better whatever in bed, uh, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to. Just because you would, you know, take should take she wants you to take care of the yard better so it looks as good as the neighbor's yard, that may not be you, right? So you are who you are, and hopefully you love yourself. And if there's a few minor things you can do to improve yourself that you agree with her to do, well, go ahead and do those things. But I think what I'm getting at is there's men who are just treated like garbage, who are cruelly mocked for perceived shortcomings that are, just your own nature, your own character, your own self, right? And if she's going to mock you for being yourself, well, then she doesn't want to be married to you, and you should agree to that and leave, right? But I know it's very difficult to leave. The cards are stacked against you. Once you start being married, it's very difficult to get out. Your lives together are so intertwined, so intermingled. There's families on both sides. There's enormous bills to pay that are going to be difficult. If you can't even pay the bills for one house, how are you going to pay the bills for two, right? Once you leave. Uh, it's so difficult to take care of the children as a couple. What are you going to do if you're separated and you have your house, she has hers, and what about the kids? Yeah, all of those are real down to earth problems that you as a man will have to overcome. And I faced all of those. It was an enormous challenge, enormously tough times. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Just because you leave your wife, your life isn't going to automatically go from misery to wonderful immediately. It will take time. Now, the good news is you can have a great life. Truthfully, the last 10 years of my life have been the best. And even the last 2 or 3 in my late 50s here have been just beyond my wild expectations of how great a life can be. It's just, but if I was with a verbally abusive wife, there'd be no way to have this kind of a life. And that's what I'm trying to get to you is you can have a happier man life. You can start to recreate your life once you've left this verbally abusive woman. You're not going to have any kind of a life, right? When I was married to a verbally abusive woman, I just wanted to die as young as possible, you know. Maybe, once my youngest got out of high school, that would have been the perfect time to keel over, right? And I would have missed all the fun I've had in the last 10 years and all the extreme adventure I've had in the last 2 or 3 that have just been glorious. And there's been such great times. And the great times can be yours. The great times are just there for you to have once you get past this verbally abusive situation you got yourself in. It, being married isn't a prison. Lots of people get divorced. It is not the end of the world. But the times during the leaving, the times going through the divorce, and the months and the years immediately after are going to be really, really hard. They're going to be really, really, really hard. You're going to cry. The kids are going to cry if you have them. Your finances are going to take a beating. It will take you years to get to recover your finances, if you ever do, if you ever do. But the good news is you don't have to recover them fully to have a great life. My finances are far from being fully recovered from the aftermath, from the marriage and the divorce and the aftermath. But even though my finances are not nearly what I'd like them to be, and are not nearly as good as before I got married, more than like 30 years ago, I'm still having a great time. I'm still having a great time. I've learned to adapt. You can learn to adapt. You can learn to live on the cheap. You can scale back your desires. You can make whatever adjustments you need. You can be flexible as long as you can be independent from your verbally abusive wife. All for now.